What is up, guys? Welcome back to episode number 2 today of the Road to Glory career mode. It's back, ladies and gentlemen. So, today's episode, I promise we will start getting into some live gameplay and some live commentary as well later on in the series. But for now, you're left with me post-com. But today, we're going to be going through most of your guys' comments, suggestions and stuff that you left on episode number 1. Thank you to everyone who left a comment. I was going to go through them and put them on the screen, but there were so many of them that it just was not possible. So, to kickstart it off, guys, you guys have left me so many suggestions. I shortlisted the ones that I felt we needed. For example, the goalkeepers. I felt like we needed another goalkeeper. The reason for that is our backup one is actually, obviously, I think he's Welsh. So, he will be leaving the club at some stage when we can transfer list him and get him sold on. And I also felt like we needed a new wing back and a new winger. So, I kind of shortlisted the players that you guys suggested for those particular positions. In terms of what you guys left, there was a lot of good suggestions, but quite a few of them were a little bit out of the price range, whether it be in the wage budget or the transfer budget. So I will leave those suggestions on this episode 1 and maybe come back to them when we have a bit more money to work with. Like for the likes of, you know, the young Premier League talent, they just simply won't come. They won't come to League 2 teams. So they'll either say something along the lines of they don't want to relocate or they've just joined the club or something like that. So it's very difficult. So you can see me on the screen here trying to make some deals happen. And I have to admit, it was a lot more difficult than I first thought it was going to be. Like, this is probably a harder challenge than I first thought. I kind of came into this with the aspect that I was looking at it thinking it can't be that hard. You know, there's enough English players in the lower divisions. But, like, I just knew, I didn't know how much to offer for the players. I didn't know their overalls or anything like that. So, as I'm going through the list, you can see I've shortlisted a lot of your guys' suggestions. There's quite a few in there. And there's a few missing. If I've not shortlisted one of your suggestions, I apologize. I will kind of go back through episode 1 once this episode is done and then try to like look through some more because I may not have been able to shortlist every single player because there was so many of your guys' suggestions to go through. It was sensational. Now, there is a couple of comments I do want to answer when we get into this one. Let me say this as well. The first bit of this video, I don't think we even signed anybody. I'm pretty sure every player I went for, we were getting comments back from their teams just saying no, basically, or they wanted too much money. So, yeah, bear that in mind for this first bit of the video. So it's just to really show you that I did try my best, but in some cases it just wasn't possible. Now, going to the comment that I did want to answer, it was brought up quite a few times from a few of you guys. It was along the lines of me having this situation where I'd made them, obviously we only allowed 5 non-English players in the side. A few of you people out there in the comment section, because you guys are incredible, as always, leaving nice comments and stuff, did mention and touch upon the fact that I possibly should have done it with non-British rather than non-English. Therefore, I could have sent scouts to Wales and Scotland and Ireland. But here is the kicker. I did think about that before I made the rule. The only issue is, if I do send it and say non-British rather than non-English, the English side of things, where I've got to have a certain amount of players from my club playing in the England setup, is going to be harder to complete. So if I do make that thing where I say non-British, then I can bring in Welsh, I can bring in Scottish, I can bring in Irish talent. But if I do that, I'm then going to limit myself in terms of how many players I can actually have in the England setup, which then may not correspond with the amount of players I need in order to complete those objectives. So that's the reason I made the decision to have 5 non-English players. Maybe I'll bump it up slightly if I feel that we're getting a bigger squad and that it's, you know, kind of stupid for me to only have 5 non-English. But for now, that's what we're sticking with, and that is the only reason that I did not do the non-British rule rather than the non-English one. That's the reason I stuck with the non-English one, because I knew full well if I was to go with non-British, when it comes to the England objectives, I might not be able to complete it. So I don't want to have that situation. So I have to keep in mind for that right now. I appreciate what you guys said, and there's some very, very good comments in there regarding the non-British situation. But for now, we're keeping it with non-English talent. Hopefully that clears that bit up. So there's a few things I want to go through in today's episode as well. There was quite a few comments regarding some, you know, players that weren't of English nationality. And for now, there's 6 players currently in this Crew Alexandra side who are non-English. So until I get rid of those guys, I can't sign any players that don't have an English nationality. So for now, any comments that were left who don't have English nationality, they'll have to wait. So that's one thing to note, guys. But you can see I'm going through, looking at as many signs as I possibly could. Connor Chaplin, actually, was an interesting one, because when I did my Road to Glory last year with Hartlepool, he was heavily suggested, and we never picked him up. And this time around, he could be perfect for this series. With me having to have that English core, Connor Chaplin could be perfect, of course. He's helped Portsmouth already for them, you know, in terms of his position there. Could he be the man to carry Crew Alexandra forward? Now, originally I went in for him. They wanted a little bit too much, so I couldn't make that deal happen just yet. Ike Ugbo as well was another young talent of the English nationality who I thought was going to be okay-ish. And when I looked at his stats, I kind of thought to myself, 220k, he's only 60 rated. I know you guys can't see it right now, but I did check it afterwards after I scouted him a bit more. And for a 60 rated player, I just felt like 220k was a bit too much to pay out the wage budget. So I tried to bump it down to 200k here, and they accepted. So I was like, okay, you know what? 200k for Ugbo is probably not terrible. In terms of rotation, it could come in pretty decent. Now, when I looked at this deal, I kind of looked at it and thought, you know what? For a striker, 18 years old, 200k, he's going to get to about 65, 66 rated, probably by the end of the season, and might even go up to the 700, 800k mark, which could mean profit later on. As I went into the wage to discuss it with his client and himself, things didn't go so swimmingly. They agreed to the important and the 3 years, and then I disregarded the squad role, and then I put a wage of £1,000 a week, and immediately they were like, nah fam, that's not happening. I was like, okay, well, I don't really know what they were expecting. For a player that's 60 rated to get only £1,000 a week, that's not that bad, you know? That's not tragic. So I don't quite know who is at fault there, whether or not I offered too low or whether or not they've got too much expectations. But for that, I was like, hell no, you ain't even going to come back. I'm not even going to go back in for you. Forget that. If you want any more than that, you can get lost. So I decided that was going to be it. I wasn't going to chase Ugbo anymore. And for now, I was okay for strikers. So at the time, I was thinking, you know what? I don't really need to buy any strikers. I'm okay for them. Until this offer for Chris Dagnall came in. And it was an interesting one. It was from Sheffield, I think United of all teams, to come in and offer for him. And I decided to counter it. I told my assistant, I was like, if you can get 750k for Dagnall, I'll be happy to let him go. Because he's on 12k a week. He's on 250 or 750k in terms of value. So if we can get it from Sheffield United, I'll be happy. And you can see, after the representatives had met, Sheffield United agreed to a £750,000 a week deal. So it looks like Chris Dagnall could in fact be leaving Crew Alexandra, one of the better players at the club. But what it does mean is that for our rebuild and for our kind of, I guess, what we want from the team, going forward, this might not be a terrible transfer, and I'll go through why I think that is later on in the video. But for now, we're going to get into some actual games, guys, and this is my favourite part of a Road to Glory series. Honestly, when you play League 2 football and you're playing FIFA in this kind of League 2, oh, it is magical. It is so fun playing lower league football in this and watching it for that matter in real life. If you guys ever sat for a League 2, League 1 game, it's so enjoyable. Just literally anything can happen. So when I was going into this initial game here, it was the first game of the season, of course. We've got two debuts playing today, Konsa and Lee making their debut for us both, of course. Now, the only issue is, going back to the Chris Dagnall sale, of course he is English, so he does fall in with what we needed requirement-wise. But I feel like 750k is a good offer, and he's on 12k a week, as I said. So I feel like I could probably get 3 okay-ish players in place of 1 Chris Dagnall. Do you know what I mean? So I think, in terms of the value and the money that we're going to get, I can reinvest it elsewhere slightly better in what I want for a team. So we'll see how I reinvest it later on in the episode. But for now, we are going to get underway in this game against Mansfield. And Cooper was the man to create the first opportunity for us. Crossing towards the middle, and there was Porter inside the middle to get his header goalwards. But Logan, it's a simple save in the end for him as we move into the 40th minute now. And here is Walker on the ball, finding its way to Bowery. Bowery in the middle, finds Porter again. Porter with a great turn strike, actually. And again, the keeper meets it with a very good stop. So, again, I'm looking at this game, and I was just enjoying every single moment of this one as we pick up a free kick inside the 58th minute. Go for the short technique to Grant. Grant takes a touch before unleashing an effort goalwards. And again, the goalkeeper, pretty decent, I have to admit. I wasn't expecting him to be this good at this level. And when we got to the last 15 minutes of it, I was a little bit worried. I was thinking this is going to be a 0-0 draw. Then Lee sends an effort back post. Dagnall wins the header, flicks it down. And Porter just sends his effort sky high over the crossbar. And at that stage, honestly, I was sat there thinking, This is going to be a long season. Like, it's going to be a long one this season. But then Bowery picks up the ball, finds Grant. Grant on the left-hand side, muscles off his defender, whips a great cross towards the back post. And there was the substitute, Lowry, at the back stick to make the score. Crew Alexandra 1, Mansfield Town 0. And in the 90th minute, we stole the points away from Mansfield. Now, to our credit, we probably deserved the victory because we were the better side, I have to admit. I felt like we dominated the game, we had chances, we just didn't put them away. We were met by a very good goalkeeper on the other side. But in terms of the actual game itself, to win it in the 90th minute, that's just the start of League 2 football. And going back to my point, this might be a very long season for us. I mean, we'll see how long this season's going to be. But for now, we picked up 3 points. The fans were happy. The boys were happy. I was happy as well. So we get 3 points on the board. And what a start it is to Crew Alexandra Life, dominating the first game with this half-start team. Remember, we are the, I guess, worst we can be. Half-start is the worst rating you can be in FIFA. That's where we're starting off from, and we started off to winning ways. As you can see, though, an offer for James Jones here, a midfielder, is Welsh from I think it was Morecambe in the end that offer came in from. I decided to accept it because, of course, again, he doesn't fall in with the English category. I need to get rid of one of the 6 non-English players we currently have at the club, so that one will free up, I guess, and we will have the 5 that we require by the end of the transfer window. So for James Jones, it looks like he might have played his final game here for Crew Alexandra when he takes on Wickham now. But I'm not really that bothered, guys, because, you know, as I said, I've got to try and work this team out. I've got to try and work out the kinks. And it just makes the series a bit more harder, you know what I'm saying? It makes it harder for me as well. I want to make that kind of clear, you know? I want this to be a difficult season for us. And so far, so good. But then, we took on Wickham in the Carabao Cup, and Dagnall on the team again before his move away to Sheffield United potentially hits the post in the first 5 minutes of this one. And again, we started off pretty good. And then in the 49th minute, James Jones finds Walker in the middle of the park. Walker back to Jones. Jones to Eddie Nolan on the right-hand side. Nolan picks up the ball, finds Jones again, and he goes close with his effort in what could be his final game for Crew Alexandra. But unfortunately, he couldn't find the back of the net. He sent his effort wide of the post. And as we move into the final few minutes of the game, Jacobson for Wickham whips a lovely cross towards the middle. And it's that man, Akin Fenwa, in the middle of the box to nod home and make the score 1-0. As disappointing as it was, I can't say I was really that bothered, because when I originally got drawn against Wickham in this game, my immediate thought was, should I throw the game away knowing that we're going to have a long season and potentially not a big squad? But when we equalised again, this time in the 90th minute, when we equalised again, this time in the 90th minute with a goal, is what I meant to say, I kind of felt like we've taken it this far, we have to now try and get through. Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as I was saying about it's going to be a long season and that we're going to have quite a short squad here with Crew, the fact of the matter is we probably can use this money that we're going to get from the Carabao Cup. So the further we can go, the better. But then at the other side of that is our fitness of the players might not be great for when we come back to some, league games. So equalising there, I was a bit like, well, it's nice, but at the same time, I would have much preferred to probably go out given the circumstances. Now we're going to have to play extra time and penalties potentially, and that might not be great when we have a league game coming up literally 3 days later. So even though it's 1-1 in the game, and even though we probably deserved to be going to at least extra time in this one, having admittedly dominated Wickham for the majority of this game here, Akin Fenwa, that was his first shot, and that was Wickham's first shot. You can see they had 1 shot on target, and that is the goal that happens for them. So we went to penalties. Akin Fenwa steps up first, trying to put him off with Garrett here. But unfortunately, the big man steps up and sends me the wrong way by slotting to the right. Ever so confident Akin Fenwa. Dagnall stepping up for Crew in his final game. And there he goes with his spot kick in off of the post. And then I forgot that it is the new 2-pen system. So he stepped up again with Bowery, who hits the bar. And that's not the way you want to take a second spot kick. Now, moving into there too. Again, Garrett doing his best to put O'Neill off here. As you can see, he's going to take a long run up, is the Wickham man, and he goes to the left-hand side as I guess right, and it doesn't unfortunately work out in my favour because they score again. Jacobson now with his third, or with the Wickham's third spot kick. Again, steps up. This time, though, sends his effort wide of the post. So all we've got to do is score. We're back on level terms, but then I don't know what happened. The keeper made a save, so I went to the right, saved it. So I decided, you know what, he's not going to go right twice, and then we did. So I was made to look a little bit silly, because then all they had to do, Wickham, was score, and they would knock Crew Alexandra out of the game, admittedly, very harshly, because I feel that Crew were the better side in this one, but it doesn't matter, because all that matters is that you get the result, and that's what Wickham have done. So as I kind of quickly rage quit the match, I guess you can say, match facts wise, I suppose, you know, I can create as many chances if I want, but if I don't score, it doesn't matter. Now, again, that's going to be one of my bigger problems this first season, is working out how to finish with the lower leagues. But for now, we're out of the Carabao Cup. As I said, I can't say I'm too disappointed, because it does mean, of course, with the short squad we're going to have, we won't have fitness issues. Now, going into the next bit, the sale of Chris Dagnall came through. So in my mind, I sat there and I was like, okay, the man to replace him is that man, Connor Chaplin. We agreed on a £1.15 million deal, £1,150,000 basically. Got to the wage stage of this one for Connor Chaplin. It looked like everything was set with Connor Chaplin. We gave him the role of crucial because, again, he's pretty much going to come in and be our talisman. He's very happy with that one. We agreed to I think it was a 2-year deal. He said he wanted that as well. But then something told me, wait, don't do this transfer. So at that stage, I went ahead and ended negotiations with Connor Chaplin. Whether or not that's going to be the right decision, let me know in the comments. You guys might feel that it was a bad decision on my part. But the reason that I ended negotiations there with Connor Chaplin was because I had £1.5 million and I still needed a right winger, or a winger of some kind, a fullback, a goalkeeper, and then I could think about a striker. So whilst our youth academy or youth scout is trying to get players into our academy, which he did come back with the first lot of players, and there was 4 players signed up to our youth team. I'll show you them next episode. You may have seen them very briefly there. For the moment, they're all 15, so they can't be signed to the full squad yet, but I think there's 3 goalkeepers and a defender of some kind. Although I was kind of looking at that and thinking maybe I should have got Connor Chaplin, I didn't want to spend and commit £1.1 million on a single player, knowing that I still had to bring in a few players. So my kind of game plan is going to be this. It's going to be to try and bring in a fullback, maybe a winger, then I can think about a striker or a goalkeeper. But for now, I think we're okay for the keepers, because once James Jones goes, of course, that's one of the players who are non-English out of the club, we then have 5 non-English players in the team. And that is enough for when the transfer window closes, we can submit the squad and be completely fine. We're in the guidelines, which means I can keep our backup Welsh goalkeeper. And then when one of our 15-year-old English goalkeepers comes of age, we can promote him to the first team, and then we have a backup at least. So for now, I think we're okay. And that's why I kind of stopped the Chaplin deal just there. Now, moving into the next game, guys, we're taking on Newport County here. And the only real chance of the first half came from that there. It was a penalty kick given, which was very strange, because originally I didn't even think I was in the area when I was brought down, but it turns out I was, and we're going to take the spot kick. Bowery is the best at the club with a 55 rating for pens. He steps up, goes to the right where we missed 2 penalties in the last shootout, but luckily this time he slots home to make the score 1-0. So we've got the lead in the game. In terms of our league performances so far, we're not doing too badly, are we? We steal the 3 points in the first one in a 1-0 90th minute winner. And then we come into this game against Newport County and score from the spot to make it 1-0. So, I mean, not really asking for a better start. We've done pretty decent so far. And as it stood, we were heading for another 3 points, sending us to 6 and potentially top of League 2 already, which is, I mean, can I do any better than that? But, you know, we're just going to grind away at this stage, I think. And Newport County then got on the front foot in the second half as soon as it began. I just couldn't defend. Literally, I don't know what happened to me. But Williams turns me like an absolute mug. And I'm sure if he did that 9 times over, he probably wouldn't be able to find the back of the net like he did there. But this time, he does. And that's the one that gets them back level in the game. So I can't even complain, because it's not like I dominated this one as much as I did in the first game and the one against Wickham. This one was a lot closer. Newport were in the game, so to go 1-1, it wasn't that harsh on us. It was a fair kind of thing, that one. So Aaron Williams equalises the score, and as it stood, we weren't heading for another 3 points. But, you know, we'll try our best in this last second half here to try and find another goal to potentially give us the win, but unfortunately couldn't do it, and we did end up with a 1-1 draw. So 4 points picked up from the first 2 games. Not too bad. I would have taken it if you'd have given me it at the start of the season, so I can't complain on that front. But, you know, to be 1-0 up in the game and concede from that, I didn't defend it very well. I need to improve on that front. But I don't actually know. I am not, like, when I come into a series, I have, like, a plan and I set myself and I know for sure where I want to finish in Season 1. I'm not so sure where I want to finish in Season 1. I don't know if I can kind of call a mid-table finish a success, if I want playoffs or anything like that. I just don't know. So for now, I'm going to lay off and see how the first kind of 10 games goes. Then I'll decide where I think is going to be okay for us this season. But as we came to the back end of the episode today, there was an offer for Bakayoko. Now, he is also one of the non-English players in the side. And because of that one, I went ahead and accepted. Because there was one player in particular that took my eyes. And I looked at him and I thought, you know what? I want to make this deal happen, which was Brennan Dickinson of Colchester. Now, a left wing back, he can play left wing, which obviously fits in with the winger that I might be looking for. He can play left wing back, left wing, potentially if I need to, maybe centre midfield. So coming into this deal here, knowing that Bakayoko might be leaving the club for around about £150,000, it wasn't a transfer fee that I was bothered about. I was more bothered about trying to work out a deal for Dickinson that didn't kind of take all of my money away. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Dickinson is 67 rated, whereas Connor Chapman is 65, yet his price is £450,000 cheaper. Now, whether or not that is because of his position, I don't know. But I felt that the deal for Dickinson was okay. I felt like the 700k that they wanted, I was happy to pay that. As I said, he can play left wing, he can play left back. We've got a deal there that I think is going to be good for us this season. And then I looked at this man, Adelakun. Now, I'm probably butchering it, so I might call him Hakeeb from now on. But he's actually English. He falls into the England's category. He falls into the fact that he was cheap. He falls into the fact that he's a winger. So he's got everything that I needed. Pretty much the same as Dickinson. So these two signings here, to me, made sense. When I looked at these two deals, it was 700k for Dickinson. I think 450k for Hakeem. I looked at both and I was like, I feel that that is perfect. You know, the two deals I made here, Dickinson and Hakeem, I felt like they were both deals that we needed at the club. We needed these players to come in. Now, what this does mean is that I have strengthened the positions that I wanted to strengthen. Looking at this here, I saw that Dickinson was on £7,000 a week, so I offered him 7.5k straight. Oh, I think I offered him 7.2 actually. Yeah, 7.2, to which he then comes back and says he wants 7.1 with the signing bonus. So I was happy to give him that. I wasn't too bothered. So went ahead, accepted it. It's fine. I'll take it. Now, when we go on to get the other man, which is, of course, Hakeeb. I said Hakeem, didn't I? Hakeeb. Now, moving into that one, I had to make sure I had enough in the wage budget first because, of course, I couldn't make the deal happen. I needed 450k plus enough in the wage. So I went ahead and offered him 5k a week, and he goes ahead and accepts. So where does this leave us for now? Now, this is how it looks. We've left with no money in the transfer budget, but James Jones is still yet to leave the club. He still could be going over to Morecambe. We don't know if that deal is going to go through yet, which potentially will give us another 250k to the wage or to the transfer budget and a little bit in the wage. In terms of that one, until that deal for James Jones does go through, I cannot make any more signings. Our budget is gone. It's gone for now. I'm happy with the squad we've got for now. I've got the youth, of course, coming through for our scouts. I feel like that's going to come in clutch for us. I have also bought a scout future star, but of course, if he's not English, we can't promote him into the side unless we have an available spot for him in regards to the 5 non-English players. So apologies if I didn't sign your player that you left, but I didn't exactly have that much money to work with. So it's not like I had a massive amount of money where I could just go splash the cash on everybody that you guys wanted me to. So hopefully you understand that. And I had to kind of think about this in the aspect that I needed to strengthen the positions that I did. So with those two signings, that now adds another 2 players. And as I said, James Jones still to go, alongside with Bagayoko as well, still to leave the club. So hopefully they will leave next episode. It will free up some more cash, and we'll see if we can make one more deal happen in this window. Other than that, if you enjoyed episode 2 of the Road to Glory, guys, career mode, I would appreciate a like. As always, you guys are incredible for all of the support you guys give me. I'm really looking forward to seeing how we can take Crewe Alexandra on this journey and make them into one of the world's best clubs, provided English talent. So, see you all again for episode number 3 very, very soon, guys. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, click the little notification next to the subscribe button, the bell, and you will always get notified of whenever I upload, guys. That's it from me for today. I will see you all again very, very soon. Adios.